This is a complicated topic. I'd like to talk about characterization, character-driven games, and hyper-reality.
Why in the world would you suggest such a pitiful thing?
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those. Most character-driven games work under the idea that their characters are interesting enough that the player wants to see what's gonna happen to them. The way that they create this tension is by giving all of their characters something that is moving, some sort of momentum. They have a past, they have a future, they have a secret they need to keep. They have something they want, something they desperately don't want, something they will always do, something they will never do. The tensions of these desires makes us wonder what's going to happen next and how this is all going to work out. That's the beating heart of a character-driven game. Some quick examples. Deadly Premonition 1 is full of these characters. Every character in that game clearly has momentum to them. Even the super minor characters that wash your car have some kind of arc, something that you want to see where it's going to go next. We could talk about Persona 4 Golden. Every character in that game has some tension to them, some things they're trying to figure out. They're high schoolers. They're trying to figure out where their life is going to go and who they are. Life is Strange, same thing. Every character has some momentum to them. They have something that they're going to do and you're going to have to deal with it, or they have something that they are afraid of, or something they're trying to hide. Every character makes you go, oh, I wonder how that's going to work out. And then, of course, the trick is that it all interlaces. All of these concerns, all of these momentums go in the same direction eventually. They all collide, and you're left with a story that is compelling. Deadly Premonition 2 doesn't do that. The characters in Deadly Premonition 2 are wacky, 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 but they're not characters. Very few of them actually want anything, and the few that do want things don't seem to have any clear way to move forward to get them. The secrets are not very interesting, and nobody seems to have a history or a future that's very interesting. For example, the cop. The cop has a gimmick, but he doesn't have any momentum. There's no particular reason to think that he's going to do anything interesting or that anything needs to be resolved with him. We do wonder about his daughter, Patricia, and about their secret mother. And that could go somewhere. That's kind of interesting. There's some kind of secret going on in that household, and you wonder what it is, until the game completely spoils it at the end of Chapter 1, and just outright tells you what it is, making it so there's no reason to ever wonder what's going to happen to them, because you literally know where they are 14 years later and exactly what they're doing. The reason that Deadly Premonition 2 is like this is because they're trying to highlight the surreality of the situation. They're chasing this idea of hyper-reality, which we discussed very briefly a long time ago. And a lot of the characters in this game are hyper-real. They're realistic but exaggerated in such a way as to make a point. We have the literal whitest guy possible in charge of the voodoo shop, with a picture of a black Virgin Mary and Jesus on the wall behind him. We have the jazz bar owner who struts around in his underwear all of the time. Yeah. We have a hyperactive taxi driver, a fire and brimstone pastor that's also a doctor. A lot of these characters are built specifically to be hyper-real and exaggerate elements of their character to make a point. But those exaggerations don't give them any momentum. In most of these games, the surreality or hyperreality is used to allow the characters to express themselves more clearly. You take their inner private lives and you make them part of reality so that everybody can see them. That's what makes that use of hyperreality or surreality so interesting. In Persona 4, people are kidnapped into the TV, and their innermost struggle is made a literal dungeon that you have to conquer. In Life is Strange, you can interact with someone and then rewind time and interact with them in a different way. This allows you to explore what sort of people these characters are in a realistic way, but a way that reality does not support, i.e., hyper-realism. The Ace Attorney series, same basic idea. The characters have their internal issues amplified and made into part of a court case. In Deadly Premonition 2, on the other hand, reality itself is surreal. The characters are surreal right from the start. Now, this can work. There are plenty of games which take place in surreal environments, and the surreal characters serve to highlight the environment. Adventure games are like this. For example, Monkey Island. In these sorts of situations, rather than using the surreality to talk about the nature of the character, you use the surreality to talk about the nature of the world. The difference here is price tag. If you're using surreal beats to help to highlight the characters, that means that the player is paying attention to the characters. You don't have to try and set something up where they can go over the horizon to fight the next big monster, because that's not what the game is about. The game is about these standard little characters that have surreal moments. On the other hand, if your characters are surreal right from the start, then you're focusing on the world itself, and that means that you have to have quite a big world. That's the focus of the game. The player wants to know what's going to happen next in the world. This is why adventure games were so pricey to create for such a long time. There's so much content, and the player just eats through it super fast. On the other hand, if the characters are what the player is focused on and they don't really care about the world, then the world can be quite cheap, and that'll be fine. That's how Deadly Premonition 1 was, and it worked great. Well, for some definitions of great. Deadly Premonition 2 has the same kind of priority. The world is very cheap and uninteresting, but unfortunately it's set up like an adventure game with unbelievable characters that don't really seem to want anything. It feels like you should be moving through the Deadly Premonition 2 world in the way that you'd move through an adventure game. You'd go up to something, you'd solve the puzzle, and you'd move on. There's very little pull to want to see what's going to happen to these characters, and whenever they start to build up a pull, they immediately ruin it with their writing, seemingly on purpose. So I'm not really sure what they were thinking, but it is interesting to me to talk about the nature of surreality or hyperreality and exactly what uses it has. Obviously, there are lots of other uses as well, but I think this has gone on plenty long as it is. Let me know what you think.
Why in the world would you suggest such a pitiful thing? Pitiful with a capital P. So pitiful. Oh, how I pity you. Oh, so pitiful. So pitiful, just pitiful. Pitiful. Truly pitiful, my little lamb. Yes, truly pitiful.